Gonna drive you bananas if I let it keep going. Lewis, how's Allentown handling it? Championing on?
We're getting through it. You know what I mean? That's what we can do
Guys are my
together.
heroes. My heroes.
We try.
Lisa, how's it in York? Holding up?
It is okay. It's a whole lot better than I was feeling yesterday.
Probably will get easier every day as you get more and more familiar.
Right.
Yeah. Schedulers and HR probably have it the hardest. Yes. The FSCs are really in it much? No, not much. Thank God. Oh, so Lewis, you got it easy, huh?
Mhm.
Okay. It ain't easy. Okay. All right, let's kick off. As always, everyone's got to participate. And goal is to figure out what we can do differently. We want to take away. How do you live the rest of your life after today? Boom. Science. Let's get into it. Excellence and goal setting. Big shout out to Louisa for putting this one together. She's quite the whiz with PowerPoint. So why is it important to set goals? Let me hear from some peoples.
Good afternoon. To stay on track, to achieve meet your objectives, remain productive, make sure that all your tasks are completed. So definitely it's important to set your goals and to continue reassessing, following up, to make sure that you're on point, you're on target, make changes wherever you see necessary. If you're not meeting them, you have to reanalyze yourself, make sure, okay, if I'm not meeting my goals, what can I do differently? Can I approach it differently? Is there anything else that I need to learn that I have not mastered? You have to co-analyze yourself and what you're doing to make sure that you get to where you want to be.
Wow, Jenny, I counted you gave 6 answers to that question. All good answers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go straight to the top of the class. Well done. Anybody else want to give one answer? Anyone?
For growth.
Very goals push us towards growth for sure. All good answers. What else? If you can turn on your camera, please do, unless you're driving or you didn't do your hair today for whatever reason.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everyone.
For accountability.
Accountability. Yeah, Sandra, go ahead.
Yes, I believe that goals give you a sense of being alive or being on the right track. The sense of life, basically, because you not only set goals for your work, you set goals for your life on a daily basis. So it kind of gives you a sense of what you're going to be through the whole day or for a period of time. So for me, it gives me a sense of life.
Wow, that was deep. Sandra's taking it down to a deep level, girls. We're going deep. Okay, thank you, Sandra. Life, purpose, goals, meaning. Wow. Irina, hope you're feeling better.
Hi. So when you are setting the goals, then it's easier to find the ways how to achieve the goal.
Yes, there's definitely truth to that.
Work
Once you
work
set
on yourself and yeah, find the best ways how to achieve it.
Yeah, very strange but true. Once you set a goal, somehow the path becomes easier. Crystal?
I set them for peace of mind because once I say it's done, then I don't have to think about that anymore because I have so much going on upstairs.
Yes, they also did a study on the dopamine effect of ticking off your to-do list, your checklist. People enjoy that. People enjoy getting their emails down to 0 unread with 0 flagged. Does anyone have that? Raise your hand if you have that. That you enjoy that. Kathy, Steph, Crystal. Yeah, Jenny. So that's a real thing. It's very common. If we set that as a goal, maybe daily or weekly, a lot of people by the end of Friday want to finish off a certain amount. That's very, very common. That Friday is a cleanup day. So lots of good answers. I think everyone said excellent stuff. Let's get into it. Everybody deserves to know when they had a good week. If you go home Friday and you don't know if you had a good week or not, you need to have a conversation with your supervisor. What are my weekly goals? How am I judged? How do I know if I'm on track? You shouldn't have to get the feedback from your supervisor. It should be inherent in your tasks. I'm going to get into some examples of those. But that's the first thing. Everyone needs to know if they had a good week. Come on, if you don't know if you had a good week. Oh, wow, Louisa, fancy. Deadlines force us to prioritize. I have 15 things. I can't do them all today. What do I do today? Helps us understand what's really important. And if we're unsure, we can ask our supervisor, hey, I have these 4 things on my desk. What do you want me to handle today or this morning? That's also why you can only have one supervisor. If you have multiple supervisors, you'll get conflicting priorities, and that leads to a lot of internal conflict. Okay, so everybody gave a lot of good reasons why goals are important. Many, many more reasons out there. Why should they be somewhat challenging? Let me hear.
It's not
If you don't
challenging,
challenge-
there will be, oh, I'm sorry, I was going to
No,
say.
that's
if it's
okay.
not
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I was going to say, if your goals are not challenging, there is no personal or professional growth. You're not growing. You are stagnant. You know, you're not learning new skills. You're not basically growing personally or professionally.
Excellent. Lisa?
That was basically exactly what I was going to say. And
Lisa
I
wants to-
know that I still grow every day, and I've been doing this for 40 years.
Awesome.
You
Okay.
know, so I still learn things every day.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. Stephanie?
I was gonna say to feel the achievement. That you achieve something.
Yeah. People can't take away your achievements. They can take a lot away from you. And getting older can take things away from you. But your achievements, you ran a marathon, you read that book, War and Peace that you didn't want to read, or you attended that course, went on that hike, they can never take that away from you. So that's a great point, Stephanie. Sandra?
Yes, in my opinion, I believe that goals should be somewhat challenging so you can develop the creativity in yourself, be more creative and have more and develop more resources to achieve that goal or that situation that you are planning to achieve. So it kind of put me in a place where, okay, let me take advantage of all the things I know, or maybe get some help from the people that knows more than me. And with all those tools, I can gather, all of that and achieve this challenging goal.
Awesome. Awesome. Crystal?
If I am not challenged, then I get bored easily and it will show in my work. I don't know. If I get bored, I just like to always have something to do. So if I sit still too long, then I feel unproductive, and then my mind goes 1,000 miles in running and nothing is completed then, because I want to touch it all at one time.
Yeah, we're going to cover that today, but there's also another training that we do about how to hire right. And we talk about that, getting the right amount of challenge for the right person. Some people really want hard jobs. They crave hard jobs, very challenging jobs. It's a personality type. So, all right, let's get into it. I saw a bunch more people joined. That's exciting. All right. Generally, we do better when challenged. If I say to you, hey, I'm going to challenge the team versus I need you to do this, people react better to when they're challenged. We figure it out. There's something strange about once you set goals that somehow, if you say, I'm going to do it, no excuse is going to stop me, you suddenly revisit all your assumptions. Well, why does it have to be on a Tuesday? Why does it have to be green? Maybe it could be red. You know, Just set the goal. It's so powerful. Our comfort zones tend to be boring. Many of us have stressful personal lives or other things going on outside of work that drain us. So right now at work, we're trying to stay in our comfort zone. But assuming everything outside of work is fine, comfort zone tends to be boring. How do you know if you're in your comfort zone too much? Are you looking at the clock twice an hour, every hour throughout the day? If so, you might be stuck in your comfort zone. Humans do better when you have high expectations for them. Study after study. You tell somebody you're the kind of person who can lead this team, and they may start to believe it. They're like, well, if Alex believes it, maybe I could. Doesn't have to be me, it could be anyone, but I'm just saying, you have high expectations. They suddenly revisit their own expectations. They do all these blind studies with kids where they gave them different tests and kids crushed it. And like, oh no, you weren't even doing the same test. Wow. Just early expectations. All right. Setting smart goals. We've covered this a few times. It's not just about coming up with a goal. It's the right goal. That's defined clearly. So let's do this together as a group. So if you're not driving, I want you to grab a pen and paper. And let's do a quick exercise brought to you by T-Mobile. I'm going to set a personal goal. Number one, those of you who don't know, I'm actually a certified coach. Shocking. Who knew? Didn't think I was coachable myself, but I am. And in the world of coaching, we often divide your world into 7 areas. Your mental world, that's like reading, studying, pushing yourself mentally, growing. Emotional, that's everything that you're not getting emotionally that you may think you need, or becoming more emotionally mature, all that jazz. Physical is your diet, exercise, getting outside enough, vitamin D. Spiritual is your belief system, your core nature. Are you feeling fulfilled? You're getting out there. Schedule is your schedule, literally. We'll map it out. Family, what's your family situation like now? The relationships you have in your family, who do you want to be closer with, who do you want to be more further from? And finance, your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10-year goals. So choose an area of your life you're not super duper happy right now, or you think you've been neglecting it a little bit much. Step 1, write it down. Now I want you to close your eyes and think, if there was no question you could achieve it, what's the one thing you'd like to see in that area of your life 3 years from now? Could be anything. If there were no excuses. It can't be that you learn to fly because you're not a bird, but it could be you learn to be a pilot. I'll give you 1 minute. Write it down, 1 sentence or less. Put a deadline. Let's make it timely. Doesn't have to be 3 years from now. It could be, I want to achieve this in the next 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. Make it very specific. So it'll be measurable. SMART goal is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So very specific. I want to, with a number. Is it attainable? If you really put enough time, effort, money, resources, is it attainable or is it impossible because you don't have wings? So again, what a SMART goal is specific. That's the who, what, when, how, why. Obviously, it's you. When, why? Is it attainable? Can you actually achieve it? Timely? Do you have a clear deadline? Is it measurable? Not to say I'd like to get in better shape, but it would be I'd like to be able to lift 300 pounds, or I'd like to weigh 200 pounds, or I'd like to go to the gym 100 times over the next 6 months. It's got to be measurable. And then relevant. When you look back at what you've written down, is this important to your life, or is this BS? That's where we're up to. Make it smart. Okay. Next step. Is it worth it? If it's twice as hard as you think it's going to be, is it still worth it? Is it worth that time and effort? If no one in your life is supportive and no one's willing to help you and they roll their eyes if you tell them about this goal, is it still worth it? Ultimately, you're accountable for your life. I'll look down to that page and ask that question. Okay. And the last question is, do you choose to commit the time and effort that it's going to require? Remember, if it's twice as hard, I'm willing to. Time and effort. When I'm working on this goal, I'm not working on other things that I might enjoy more. Okay. The hardest question. Anyone want to share? Anyone want to share? Who's going to be brave?
I will.
You know what, Crystal, go ahead, and then Fiona.
Okay. I chose schedule, and I chose that because I need to balance out work, life, and my worship, my life with Christ. And then my time set is within a month. I would like it written down and in my face with a vision board of how I'm going to handle it and be consistent in a 6-month period of doing it. And is it attainable? Yes. And as long as I continue to say I can do it, it can be done. But once I doubt and look backwards, I've lost. Is it relevant? Yes, because I have children that are watching me. And I always tell them, lead by example, choose your friends wisely. So I prefer to let them see me do it so they can accomplish it on their own. And yes, it's worth it because I need some peace in my life. There's just so much stuff going on right now in my life that I'm being attacked from all angles, with my mother with cancer and my father-in-law just getting out of the hospital and nursing homes, and me having to care for all these people on top of my children. It has been very stressful, and to have to come and work in an office now because I was at home. And the last one, yes, because I want longevity in my life, and I know it will eventually make me sick with trying to control and have so many responsibilities. So if I don't get on a path, then I'm setting myself up for destruction.
Beautiful.
That's mine.
Beautiful. Try to keep, when you finally write out the goal, we want to keep it to one sentence. Less words, better. But everything you said sounded like you really went through the process well, which is good. Fiona.
Okay, so I did something for, I'd say, mentally. I want to be confident in speaking Mandarin within a 3-month time period. Because right now I only know Cantonese. Um, so, and I would do this, and I'm currently doing this right now, so I think this was a perfect example. I do daily exercises in Mandarin. Um, and I think it's attainable and achievable, as long as I take the time and effort every day to practice and apply it to certain situations in my daily life, I think it will be worth it.
And did you specifically dedicate a certain amount of time per week, or do you have it on the calendar or on your phone, reminders every day to spend a certain amount of time? Is it locked down? Commitment?
It's like a 2 to 3 hour lockdown. I learn the material and then I try to practice it with because there's so many apps now that you can practice with overseas people or people that speak the language that are affiliated with those apps. So 2 to 3 hours a day.
A day?
Mhm.
Hot diggity. You really want this. Wow. 2, 3 hours a day. That's a lot of commitment. It's a very high level of commitment. You must really want it. That's great. So I'm glad you're being realistic about how hard it is. That's great. Okay, very cool. So that's awesome. Commute times, that's a good time to learn how you commute. But yeah. Okay, very cool. Great examples. Who wants to go next? Josephine?
Well, so I chose physical, and I told myself I would like a year for a healthier living style and to be at my goal weight. Only because I would like to live longer and be more healthier. As you get older, it's harder to lose weight and be healthy. But aside from that, because my daughter is very physical and active, so I would like to keep up with her as she's in basketball. And I'm always busy with her.
Yeah. The goal weight's perfect because that way you have a hard, smart goal. On living a healthier lifestyle, you should try to maybe break that down into maybe 2 or 3 more specific measurables. You don't have to discuss it with all of us, obviously, in detail,
Right.
but yeah, that's great. Good thing to keep in mind. Again, going off topic, just talking to you guys as a coach. We all have finite energy. You cannot take on 6 goals every quarter. It doesn't work. Generally, you want to only set for yourself 2 or 3 big goals. So in 3-month period, you can't take on an emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, schedule, family, finance, big goals. It won't work. You will spread yourself too thin. So prioritize. Okay, we get maybe one more brave soul, and then we'll move on. Anyone?
Okay, so I have physical as well. I have been basically overweight for the past 13 years from I met my husband. So my goal is to be under 200 pounds in 5 months' time. It is attainable. I can achieve it if I continue to focus on my nutrition and exercising, not benching, not, eating snacks. Because I would like to, I'm basically going to be 41 this year and I would like to try and get pregnant. So this is something that I'm definitely willing to commit the time and effort to make sure that I am successful in 5 months' time.
Yeah, that's amazing, Jenny. I'm also 41 now. Wait, you're not yet, but yeah. But that's a very smart goal because you were very specific. You had a very clear timeline. It sounds important to you.
It's important that I be under 200 pounds because at my age, if I do get pregnant, I just overcame some health obstacles, and if I do get pregnant at my age, I'm already at risk, so I need to be as healthy as possible physically to not add more issues, health wise for
Sure.
me or my baby. So that's my goal.
Yeah, everyone's really sharing today. Love it. I will also mention we covered this in a much earlier training. Once you set the goal, you got to build the habit. It takes 30 to 40 days to build the habit. The 3 R's of habit formation are reminders. And you can put a sticky note on your mirror every morning. You see it first thing in the day. It could be at the bottom of your screen on your laptop. It could be on your desk. You need to see it every day. Your big goals, constant reminders. You put alarms in your phone half hour before you're supposed to go to the gym or whatever you're doing, practicing your Mandarin. So that's reminders. Repetition. Do it the same way every time. Be consistent. The more predictable it is, the less work, the less variation, the easier it will be. Simplify your process. And lastly is rewards. If the goal is not enjoyable or the reward is too far away, you've got to introduce small rewards along the way. You've got to break that big rock into small rocks. So you've got to put in fake rewards, such as if I do this, I will have a slice of cheesecake, or I will go buy that tennis racket, or that, what are they playing now? Pickleball racket I wanted to get, or I will go take my daughter to the big basketball game in New York City as a reward for her team, whatever. So very importante. Okay, good. Good job, everybody. Those that didn't do it, you can take a picture of the screen. This is a great way to do it for your personal life, and try to set yourself 2-3 goals every quarter. Then the end of the year, you look back, it was a good year. You know, I accomplished a lot. Learned Mandarin, lost some weight, started running, all that jazz. Okay, amazing. Okay, setting powerful goal, writing it down makes it so much easier, guys. It's just incredible how powerful that is. The excuses fall away once you say, I am doing this, no excuses. It's amazing. And then you break it down into the weekly. So to hit that in 5 months, what do I have to do every week? What does that look like? How many hours of training do I need? Break it down. Weekly goals. Then introduce the reward, real or fake. So let me hear from some of you. What would you tell a team member who doesn't look confident that they can achieve? Maybe it's a project or a process you just gave them as the manager. Maybe it's your coworker sitting next to you, just sat down for a meeting with their manager and they're like, asked to do this. I don't know. What do you say to them? Let me hear from some people I haven't heard from.
I would ask them what they're stuck on. What do they need help on, or a refresher on?
Yeah, offering retraining is great. What specifically is the core of the issue? Great, good points.
I would try to sit with them and try to break up the assignment into pieces to say, can we achieve this? When can we achieve this? And then let's prioritize this piece for next. And maybe by the end of the week, we could do this. And if you need help, just ask for it, and we'll make sure that we work together to get it done. If there's an issue or problem that's not surmountable, then we can work together to figure out how we get around that mountain.
Amazing. Yeah. Break the boulder into rocks. Anyone else? Probably all had this at some point in our career.
I say that in my opinion, I feel like just to make your teammate think positively, because sometimes when you go at like a certain task and you don't feel like you know it, you think negative, but realistically you do know it, and sometimes you just have to like really reflect and just break it down step by step so that you can just go all into it.
Positive reinforcement. Yes, definitely some people are much less adaptable. I had one team member, every time I changed her process, she'd cry to me. Like it was like on cue, would cry every time, and she would just apologize. I know, I just don't like change. I really don't like change. And then she'd be fine 2 days later. But there are people like that who don't like change, really don't like change. So yes, that can happen. Thank you, Lewis. Let me hear from someone else I haven't heard from today. Gonna stay here all night.
Can I just say that that doggy is so cute?
Yeah, what breed is it, Crystal? You a dog person? What breed is that?
It looks like a little lab. I don't know.
Like a
I
lab.
can't see the ibbies.
Yeah, dogs are incredible. Hey, Dixie, good to see ya. All right, let's keep going. Okay, scorecards. Why are they so important to us? Because they work. First truth. If you start measuring something weekly, whether it's referrals, starts of care, phone screens, missed hours, overtime, suddenly the focus is on that. And whatever you pay attention to is what you pay attention to. It makes a difference. Just reviewing it, just having the scorecard. I have yet to see a team that says the scorecard wasn't helpful in them having a much better understanding of where the teams are. And also just that sense of confidence, like, okay, we had a good week. Okay, we had a good week in 4 out of 5 departments. If you consistently have a clean, quick process of pulling the numbers, automate the reports, the data becomes so powerful. It's just so easy. If once in a while you get asked for a report, it's like, okay, let me figure out how to put this together. 6 hours. But if every Tuesday you know you need to send in your numbers, or every Monday morning, or every end of Friday, you have to spend 10 minutes pulling together your numbers from the week, it's 10 minutes instead of that 2 hours every 3-4 months. It's much cleaner when you have a clean, simplified process. Scorecard straight away shows you the last 12, 13 weeks. The scorecard system we use, which is called Bloom Growth. Quickly slide back. Many of you are in level 10 meetings or mini level 10 meetings, and you'll see the power of the scorecards. I get asked all the time, hey, do we have a KPI on this? And I'll say, yes, we have that for 12 of our large agencies. Some of the new ones don't have that, but I can pull that together for you. And I access your scorecards. It really is quick to see the trends. Lastly, trust but verify. Trust but verify. Unfortunately, some people don't have the best work ethic or hide some of their stuff. I don't know why humans do the things they do, but it happens. So we do have to verify. I hired one guy, interviewed great, didn't work a day for us, faked it every day. And then I pulled up his active track and I showed it to him the next day. Suddenly he was working. So which proved that he wasn't working the previous days. He had another job somewhere else. So they can interview amazingly, but you've got to verify. We have active track on every computer. That's just a classic example where we can see when people clock in 9 to 5, but they're actually not working anything like that. The marketers obviously are out and about, but anybody else, their computer should very much reflect their work. So you've got to inspect things, trust but verify. We're listening to people's phone calls. If there's concern or history of them not always being compassionate on every phone call, they argue with caregivers and clients. There's a few things that we do, but yeah. Accountability. Some people feel challenged. Why are you asking me? Why do you need these numbers? You don't trust me? Got to get past that. Have to see the numbers. Accountability. Clear ownership of processes. The agencies in the Honor family that have clear accountability, people tend to be much happier. I know where my job begins. I know where it ends. Yes, my supervisor will come over to me sometimes and ask, hey, do you want a new process? Can you help me on this project? And if I really want to say no, I'll say no. And if I say yes, and then I hate it, I let my supervisor know, hey, next time this comes up, I really don't enjoy this kind of stuff. And then the supervisor says, good to know. I'll give it to somebody else on the team. Really try to give you the stuff that's a good fit for your core nature. But do need to have accountability. It show the office. Okay, scorecard isn't super easy. Do have to have clear data, to be consistent. If you miss a week, you got to bring last week's numbers, but it is worth it. The trends, the confidence, the accountability. Bad data leads to bad operations. And lastly, only one person can be accountable for every process. Anytime we're starting a big project and we say, okay, who wants to own it? 3 people raise their hands and we say, you guys own it. That is a recipe for disaster. They can all work on it, but out of the 3 of you, who is being the lead? Who's putting their name on this? Who is ultimately going to take the full accountability for this project or this process? So many of the issues we have go back to not having a clear accountability or 2 people not thinking either of them's accountable. Oh, I thought she would take the lead. I was waiting for her to schedule the meeting. Okay, guys. Moving forward, who owns this? One of you. It's clearly not clear. Okay. So the 6 fundamentals. Don't have too long a scorecard. Got to be weekly. We want to know if there are issues after 2 weeks. We don't want to know issues after 2 months. Every goal has to be a SMART goal. And if it's bad, 2 weeks in a row, we're discussing it. Hey, does anyone know the core of the issue? Why is it bad 2 weeks in a row? And then we can always see 13 weeks in advance. Okay. So what are the numbers that really define success? What tells us last week was a good week? and gives us an absolute pulse on the business. So every operation has a leadership scorecard. Some of you are in those meetings, some of you are not. But beyond that, every team member should have between 3 and 5 weekly numbers. So what could those look like? Here we go. If you are someone on this call who doesn't currently know any of their numbers, that's something to think about. Maybe meet with your supervisor. Hey. So field service coordinator probably has to do a certain amount of visits a week. Needs to resolve all their investigations and incidents within a day or two. Probably has a goal from Trina's team, 24 hours, 48 hours, something like that. Each office has a start of care goal every week, and that requires a certain amount of intake visits. Again, that might be the FSC, that might be the RN, but those are goals. If you're on the CRM and you're a marketer, you've got to follow up on your leads. You've got to speak to everyone in the CRM, typically twice a week to keep pushing them through. ATS, certainly twice a week. So many operations struggle with keeping their ATS clean. I'm always super impressed with an office that does keep it 100% clean every day. But Friday, before going home for the weekend, you've got to make sure your ATS is up to date, that it's not a hot mess of an ATS. A lot of data comes out of it, so we need to be clean and accurate. Tickets, a lot of you on ticketing systems. I know Kelsey is, payroll teams are. Jessica Cortez is on the call. She's on the ticketing system. So how many tickets did you get done that week? Average week. Jessica has it on her weekly scorecard. She has a whole scorecard, her and Rosie. So they have a number of items. And we're very consistent. That team, very consistent in their resolution of tickets. Phone screens. We have superstar phone screeners and we have average phone screeners. Superstar phone screeners definitely get more bonuses. And they also complete way more phone screens per week and per day. Are you returning your voicemails that day or the next? That's a big number for all of us. Lots and lots and lots of score numbers. If you can't think of 3 numbers for yourself, that's a conversation you should have with your supervisor. Everyone should have at least 3 numbers that they know. This is my weekly goal. This is what I average in a week. Any questions on this? A lot of data. A lot to digest. No questions? Okay. Intake teams normally are on ticketing systems. Tickets are great because you get to see them. They come in, they go out, it's clean, tracks, can prove. We also get to see the trends, like why don't things work smoother. Many companies, we're not very red tape, we're not very corporate. Those of you who've been with us a long time know that's true. Many companies take this all the way and have complex dashboards in the HRIS, in the Human Resource Information System, with weighted goals and averages, and you get graded every month on did you have a good month, a bad month, and it becomes like a gamification of your experience, and it can become very arbitrary. And this is what they refer to as a red tape. You get stuck in, like, it's not so much about what my supervisor wants. I need to make sure my grade is good in the system so I maximize my raise at the end of the year. So it's also in more stable work environments where there's not so much change. Home care has an insane amount of change. Never stops, never gets easier. So these are just an example of some more goals you can see there on the left column. Customer retention, 120%. How do you retain 120% of your customers? You only had 100% customers. What the? Okay, good for her. Here's another one of our classic scorecards. This is actually the New York leadership team. Can you guys see the third line from the bottom, total New York voicemails? Clearly not hitting that number. It's read every week, right? But doesn't mean we give up. We're constantly working different angles to bring down voicemails. We spend a fortune on technology. We have our cool Telebroad API module that Aurelis owns. It's working great. We then rolled that out in Philadelphia, rolled it out in somewhere else. I have to look back. I can check the tech. New cases accepted. To see how many referrals. So their weekly goal is 50 referrals. You guys see that in the middle of the page here? More than 50. And every week they hit their referral count. Could be they have to update the goal. So this way, every column the most recent column, the one furthest to the left, is last week. You can see how we're trending, and you can see if we're hitting or not. Red means we missed our goal. Green means we hit. And then every 3 months, we reevaluate our goals in a quarterly planning day. These quarterly planning days, we look back at the last 90 days. What would we do differently if we had a time machine? And then we say, what are the priorities for the next 90 days? Very much like we talked about before with the goal setting. Smart goals. It's going to be hard. Is it worth it? Is this really the priority for our agency? And it's a leadership team. It's not coming from above. It's not coming from Honor Health for sure. It's the local agency's leadership team that define the scorecard and the goals. I think that's the last slide. There was a lot to take in today. Any final thoughts? Anyone want to share any wisdom of their own about setting goals from their life experiences? I'd love to hear some wisdom. No? No one's mama taught them something about goal setting? Go ahead, Fiona.
I'd say the one thing that my parents did tell me is be creative and set a goal that you aspire to be, because in the end, goals are places, or not physically or mentally. It could just be in a mind space where you want to be. You know, it's to be in that type of situation or that place in mind where you want to be currently, but because those are things that you have to inspire yourself or aspire to be.
Wow.
So
Awesome.
I think just be creative.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Awesome. Anyone else want to close this out? Oh, okay. It's great seeing everybody. Stay safe. It's November. The year's nearly over. Let's finish strong. Don't drink too much of the holiday party.